Hello and welcome to my very first YouTube video. Today I am featuring the new Watercolor Lily Border stamp set from Art Impressions. For more details on this stamp set, check out my blog link in the description below. All of the craft supplies that I use in this video will also be listed below. So let's get started. First, I stamped the Lily border with my Memento Tuxedo black ink using my MISTI stamping platform. This ink is my go-to black outline ink for coloring with my Copic Sketch alcohol markers. I stamped the image twice to get a solid outline of the floral image. Next, I stamped the same image onto some Gina K Designs masking magic paper to create a mask of the lily border image for ink blending. Once again, I stamped the image twice onto the masking paper to create a perfect outline for fussy cutting. This stamp set does not come with coordinating dies, so I had to fussy cut the lily border mask with some microblade scissors. Since this image is so detailed, it took me quite a while to cut out the image, so I sped up this part of the video. This detailed image is really great to practice some floral coloring. There are a lot of helpful lines, which make it easier to find the highlight areas and the shadow areas. Once I finished cutting around the perimeter of the image, I went back through and trimmed the white space in the smaller areas, like in between the leaves and the flower petals. You want the mask to color the entire stamped image, but you also want to trim as much excess space off as possible. Now on to my favorite part of card making, the coloring. I will say this now, and I will probably say this again in my future videos. My Copic markers are my pride and joy. Yes, they are pricey, but they are so worth it. Lilies can come in so many fun colors, but I decided to make mine look like the Stargazer lilies with the bold pink centers. I used a blend of RV21, RV11, and RV000 to color the center of the flowers. With this stamp, you do have to pay attention to which way the flowers are facing to find the highlight and the shadow areas. Next, I use C2 to define the shadows in the white areas of the lily petals. Adding shadows make the flowers look more three-dimensional, and it accents the curves within the petals. To color the flower bulbs and the stems, I used my favorite floral green color blend of YG61, YG63, and YG67. I made sure to keep the highlight areas white, especially towards the top of the flower. I used RV29 to darken the center of the lilies and to add more depth to the image. I went back through the shadow areas with my C4 to create more contrast between the shadows and the highlights on the flower petals. I realized I missed one of the flower bulbs, so I went back in with the YG63 to color the shadows and the YG61 to blend out the mid-tone. To finish the coloring, I went back through with my C2 to smooth out the harsh shadow areas throughout the image. I think this coloring turned out great. Next, I peeled off the backing paper from the mask image and placed it directly on top of the color. This will protect the colored image from the ink blending that I'm about to do. I went back over the mask multiple times to make sure it was securely attached to the card front, even in the smaller areas. You don't want the masking paper to peel up accidentally while you're ink blending and to ruin your beautiful image. I decided to use the Comic Dots stencil from Kindred stamps to create some texture behind the lily border flowers. I used PIXIE spray on the stencil to make sure it would stick to the cardstock and not move while I'm ink blending. I went over the stencil with Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide ink to create a subtle texture background. I really think the light blue ties in nicely with the white, pink, and greens of the lily image. I blended over the stencil multiple times to get a smooth coverage. And voila! Look how the blue circles really make the lilies pop from the white card base. I stamped the sentiment Friendship Blooms from the Heart from the Watercolor Sentiment stamp set from Art Impressions with VersaFine black pigment ink. This ink is my go-to for stamping sentiments as it leaves a nice crisp impression. Finally, to finish the card front, I used Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp the stamens, or at least that's what I think they're called, into the center of the lilies, similar to on the stamp packaging. And there you have it, a single layered floral card featuring the watercolor lily border stamp set. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you come back soon to see more of my creations. Oh, and don't forget to leave a comment below.